Hi, welcome to Jackie's Litter Corner. I am Jackie, and since I'm not going to do a TBR, I decided to talk about my reading plans, even though it's like the third day of February, and this is a shorter month because it's a leap year. But it's not. It's only the third day, so I figure I could get away with this. I actually decided to film this video because I was watching Britta Bowler's. I think it was Britta Bowler's video where she talked about how she decided she had done a video showing her plans for the month instead of a TBR because she said she doesn't like doing TBRs, or she said that she decided not to do TBRs this year, or and I think we have a similar problem in like not being good at sticking to TBRs. But yeah, I was watching her video and I was like, let me also do that instead. Because I like the idea of TBRs, but it's just picking set books, planning set books to read is a little bit, there is a little bit of like expectation that you're going to read those books, and then all of a sudden I remember other books that I want to read. So, I'm just going to kind of talk about what I'm hoping for. So, my original plan that I started thinking about was doing a Jane Austen inspired reading month because my sister had got me some Jane Austen content, Jane Austen books, including the cloth-bound edition of Persuasion, and she also got me Northanger Abbey, and I think one more. And then, my parents got me some books on, like, the, walking towards the Bath, and then, the guidebook to Jane Austen's England. So I was thinking, let me do a Jane Austen inspired reading month, and then it'll also give me an excuse to look through that book and read through it and mark off places I want us to visit when we finally do go to London. So this is one of the ideas I had for the month. And I was reminded of it when Feb Regency came around, and Emma and Tristan, I saw their announcement videos where they talked about what they were reading. My only hesitancy about joining Feb Regency is because some of those authors write epistolary. Sorry, I get tongue tied when I try to say that word. Like, the formats aren't really my thing, and I want to try to find, like, if I was doing Regency books, I would, if I did decide to do it, I want to find ones that aren't, like, romance or a guy going after a woman. Like, I always want to read Regency books that are kind of more adventure stories and stuff like that. So, I don't know, first of all, I can look it up myself, but if any Regency era works, that were actually written in the Regency era. I'm not talking books that were written today that are set in the Regency era. I mean books that were actually written in the Regency period. I do know Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is Regency, and I do need to finish that book. So maybe I should consider picking that one up. Even if I'm not technically participating in the readathon, I could still read that one. And actually, Emma from Bookish Princess is decided to read that book for Feb Regency. Because, I mean, even if it was a book that wasn't written in the Regency era, it was written recently, that you can read books like that. I just don't, I don't want to read the Regency romances, put it that way. I'm not interested in those. I mean, I'm sure they're great, but at the moment I'm just not interested in those. But if it's a book that's set that was actually written in the Regency era, then I wouldn't mind. So if any of you come across any of those, let me know, and I'll put them in my TBR, mark them off to books I want to read at some point. And maybe one day I'll read them. I'll buy them and read them, or get them off of Libby or something. Or maybe get them as a Kindle, on a Kindle book. So yeah, I did think about the Regency readathon, but then I don't have. All I have is the Jane Austen And like I said, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I do need to finish, is set in the Regency period. So maybe I'll pick that up this month. I don't know. But it is a longer book. But I have read most of it. Like, I look, and I always think it's going to be easy for me to look at the books I've taken off the shelf. But then I started thinking about books, like, I also started thinking about, like, classics that I bought and I'm not familiar with, but I was interested enough to buy it, but it's not a classic that is well known, like, something written by Jane Austen, or, one of the Bronte sisters, or, Tolstoy's most famous novels, or anything, like classics that aren't as well known and aren't as popular. I was thinking, oh, maybe I should pick up one of those instead of one of the ones here. But then I took these out, and these are, some of these books I've taken down, like, and put in a pile on my floor, like Les Miserables. Sorry, I'm trying to pronounce it with the French, but I'm probably not. I'm probably totally off. Probably sounds Spanish or something. And then, like, there's also, like, Divine Comedy in Paradise, and, there's so many classes that I do need to read as well. In War and Peace, I have that one on here, and it's just hard to pick. I just feel overwhelmed. And people give me suggestions, like my friend Larissa, gave me a suggestion for when I was thinking that I was going to go with my mom to my grandma's. She was like, well, why don't you just pick a new book that you just bought and bring also an older book that you've been meaning to read? And it seems so simple. But then I'm like, I don't want to bring just 2 books. Even if I'm only staying a couple days, I still don't want to bring just 2 books. So I just can't make decisions. But, so I don't know. I want to come up with, like, try to think of a theme in mind. Like, I don't know if I could do... I can't remember her channel name, but there's one booktuber, I think her first name is Julie. Like, it's like Julie Reads a Lot or something, and she's either Australian or from New Zealand. I always try, accents that sound similar, at least to me. I'm not trying to insult or be disrespectful or anything. I just mean, honestly, Australian, New Zealand do sound very similar to me at first glance. Or I should say not glance, but at first sound. They sound similar. But I know, and before anyone tells me, I do know there's a difference. I just can't place the difference. And I feel really bad for saying that. Because I do know there's a difference, I just can't figure out what it is. Because, like, Irish and Scottish, I've heard it enough times that I can attempt to explain to someone what I believe the difference is between the Scottish and the Scottish and Irish accents. I'm blending the words together. Scottish and Irish accents. I feel like I could explain, or at least try to explain the differences between those accents. But at the moment, Australia and New Zealand do sound a little small, and I repeat, I know there is a difference. I just don't know what it is. But anyway, Julie does themes every year. Since she's been on BookTube, I think. Which, I don't know how long that has been. I don't think it's been as long. But I love that idea. I just don't think I'd be very good at it, because I would try, there are books that I want to read that wouldn't necessarily fit the theme, and I'm like, I would maybe try to make them fit the theme, but I don't know. And I did start thinking about themes, though. Like, in the beginning of the year, before the year started, I was thinking, like, doing an epic works theme, like epic adventures or epic scope type stories. And I also thought about philosophy, not a book on philosophy. Like, I did have a book on philosophy by I think it was one of the famous philosophers, like Aristotle or someone, or it's a famous work, and it's one that even my uncle said you should read it. Oh, The Republic. I had a copy of The Republic, but I was just now trying to go through my books and take some books off my shelf to be donated, and I was just thinking, am I gonna actually read that? I mean, I'm not. If I was a student, then maybe that could happen. I mean, I did take a philosophy class at college, but I kind of quit. And like that might have been the ones I actually was failing, and I was going to take, and if I was still taking that class, then maybe I would keep it. But it's, I don't know if I'm gonna. So it is in that pile over there. I mean, maybe I might change my mind before. That's why I'm hesitant to get rid of, to take books all at the same time to one of my bookstores. That's another reason. I mean, the other excuse is that I, have to have someone drive me there. I like taking them in groups of like 3 or 4 books, because then I might change my mind later about the book and not want to, decide I'm going to keep it after all. So that might be one that, so there's a small window that I might keep it. Might keep that book on philosophy. But anyway, I did think about that, and how, like, there's a lot of books, like the, Echo Things to Come deals with, like, releasing this God type being into the world, and it's like, do they make the sacrifices to let this, guy into the world, or do they create the rebuild their boundary that protects them from the monsters in this godlike being that they were, so it's the usual good versus evil and what is evil and all that. And there's a couple of other books, like Damascus Gate kind of dealt with that through religion. So I was like thinking maybe with that I could kind of look at that as a theme for the year or the month. Because before the year started, I was thinking doing monthly themes. So I've been going basically back and forth between monthly and yearly themes. But yearly might be better if I did decide to do themes. And just stick to the yearly. And it's the second month of the year anyway, so I don't, think that bugs me. If I want to start something, I like to start something right at the beginning. So I don't like to get into like a theme or something to focus on if I've already started the year and I've been in the year for like a month or, a couple months or so. Then I don't want to do anything. I don't want to start anything new. I don't know if I'm making sense, but so yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking I have, ideas, but I can't narrow down. Pick the books I want to read from the piles of books that I've taken down, and then I look at all the books that are still on my shelf, and I'm thinking, oh, I should pick those up. And then there's some books that I was like, they would be great for winter time, and then I don't pick them up until the end of this, and then I won't pick them up until the end of this year. So that's another struggle. And then also, like, because I'm trying to stick to my budget when I go to the bookstore, I only get one book. So I bring this up because sometimes I have books that are books in series where I've read the first book and then I haven't picked up, and then I need to buy the next book, but then I'm like, there's another book I also want to read, inspired to buy and read. I was actually just thinking about that the other day when I went to Books A Million a couple days ago. It was at the end of the month. It was like the last week of the month, but it was like I was feeling anxious about making sure I stick to my budget, and my mom and I were talking, and she assured me, well, I think, nothing at Books A Million is going to be that, well, depending on, because there are some things, obviously, they're going to be probably take me way over my budget, because they're like $50 or something, but I'm not going to buy any of those things. So yeah, this is why I always have trouble. And now I thought about another book that I would like to read this um by Thomas Mann, The Buddenbrooks. And I thought about reading that during Christmas time, because, you know, I feel like you can associate Germany with Christmas, because Christmas is a big thing for them, along with Halloween, and they have like the German Christmas trees, which we do have one. My dad's grandfather made one, and so we have our own German Christmas tree, and we just put it up every other year. Which mainly I was thinking about that because I remember suggesting the idea, because like put up a regular tree when my nephews and niece come, but then the years when they don't come and they're with my sister's in-laws, then we put the German Christmas tree. Although this year plans got messed, went awry, because like I said, they were supposed to come for Thanksgiving, but my nephew got sick, so we ended up putting up the German. We were going to put up the German tree, and then they decided they were going to make sure they come for Christmas, especially because we were going to go to my grandma's, and my sister wanted to go see her, so they saw the German Christmas tree, which they liked it. I mean, and it wasn't like a big deal. They did like it, but anyway, so I thought about that, reading Buddenbrooks as well. Like, I keep thinking about that. So I always add books to my list. Like, I try to put books back that I'm deciding, okay, I'm not going to read it right now. So I don't, basically my plans are kind of up in the air at the moment. Like, I know that this video, I said this is my reading plans. I mean, what I would probably do is title this video, thinking about my reading plans, or trying to come up explaining to you the plans I'm trying to come up with, or something like that, but there's so many. And I'm also thinking about one of the books I recently purchased in January, the Museum of Abandoned Secrets. I was thinking about reading that as well. I wasn't sure though, because I just read Damascus Gate, and even though I think that one, the Museum of Abandoned Secrets, takes place in Russia, or is about a Russian family, but I feel like it would be just as hard-hitting and dense as that one. Although that book was not that hard. Damascus Gate was not that hard, and it was like a thriller. It just was more detailed and more of a, there's a lot more discussions and talking about your beliefs and your religion, and it was a lot more, deadly a story, because it was set in Jerusalem. And then there's some nonfiction. I mean, I think I'm going to continue sticking with, this is going to still be part of my plan, obviously, the Crusades, the history, the Crusades, Islam and Christianity, and the struggle of world supremacy. I'm still going to continue that, and I'll figure out my next nonfiction will be, which might be the Lives of the Caesars by Suetonius. I might make that my next fiction read, because it's not that long. Like, I'm trying to read the fiction books that aren't as the nonfiction. I keep saying fiction. Nonfiction books that are not as long, and just read those, and then come back to the longer ones, because I need to read the Walt Disney biography. I need to get back to that one. I mean, I don't know if I will actually ever finish that book. I mean, I'm gonna finish, but finish that book this year, I should say, because it's long, and not that it's a hard read, but it's a biography, so it covers Walt Disney's whole life and his career in the, before he died. And I only probably this much, maybe this much. I would have to look at the book. And it's just taking a long time, because I'm not good on commitment when it comes to books. Because, I love reading, but committing to a super long book can be a bit of a challenge. and, you know, nonfiction is explaining things, stating facts and stuff. So it's not, I mean, it could be interesting if it's a biography or a memoir. It could be kind of interesting because in a way it's telling the story. It is telling the story because it's just telling the story of a real life person's life. So I do need to get to that one as well at some point. Or at least read a little bit more. Not necessarily finish it, but just read a good chunk more of that biography. I did not take that one down though. So maybe I'll save that one for summertime. Although that's where my problems can potentially lie, where I say I'm going to save something for a certain period in the year, and then it ends up being like I'm not, you know, I end up not doing it. I also have 2 audiobooks from Libby that will be coming. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I mean Throne of Glass. I mean, I am reading. I have been reading A Court of series, and I just finished A Court of Silver Flames. I just finished that one, and I liked it. I unapologetically enjoy these books. They're fun, you know, and yeah, there's a lot of sexy times, which can be very amusing and weird to listen to, but I still have fun with the story, and I like the romance is really, you know, very touching, and, you know, I like learning, you know, getting more on, Nesta and her dealing with PTSD and everything, and maybe becoming a kinder person to everybody, and not pushing people away with meanness. So I'm not gonna, you know, I like Sarah J. Maas. I know people have her valid criticism on her, and she has her problems, but, you know, it's just fun. Her works are fun and silly, and at times like really inappropriate, or not, like where there's a lot of sexy times, but I have fun. And I've been meaning to reread the first 5 technically, if you count the novella, the novella series in books, short stories. Reading those, and I'm just gonna do the order last time, where I read the first 2 or 3 books, and then read the collection of short stories before I get to the 5th book, because that's what people said you should do. That I remember some people saying that at least read it before the 4th book. I think it's before the 4th. And I can't wait, because I've already read it once, so even people don't think that's a good approach. I've already read the first 3 books. So yeah, but I mean, granted, I don't remember a lot of what happened. Once I start listening to it, which should be happening soon. It's 6 more weeks when last I looked at it. Then I should be, you know, once I start listening, it will probably come back to me. Plus, if you read enough reviews and hear enough people talk about the book for a reason or some reason or another, then you're gonna remember things. Like, remember, I can't remember, was it Murphy Napier or someone else who complained about a scene when Celaena receives a box of chocolates, and she's in the middle of a competition full of assassins that want to be the king's assassin, and she receives this box of chocolates, and, you know, it's like, you're not gonna even bother to, like, you know, sniff them and stuff like that, you know, double check. But yeah, there are some issues with the works, but they're fun. And I remember enjoying, you know, the Throne of Glass series, a lot of the concepts, a lot of the aspects of the story, like the relationship, the romance stuff, didn't entirely love, because first I wanted Celaena with someone else, and that guy is not the end game. From what I could tell. But I will be happy as long as the guy who does not get with Celaena at least has someone to fall in love with. That will make me happy. And, you know, and I just, you know, when you would think I would prefer that one over A Court of series, because, you know, a lot of people describe that one as more of for fantasy, high fantasy fans, because It's more there's more world building. There is romance, but it's the secondary plot. And, Selena's journey and her destiny and all that is more important in this one. And then there's this big war going on, and all that stuff is going on at the time. So you would think I would like that series more, but I am kind of sticking more with a Court of series. So that's why I'm going to re-listen to The Throne of Glass, starting with the titular novel, which is Throne of Glass. So that should be coming in soon as well. So I will be listening to that when I can. I mean, while I'm getting ready for bed and stuff like that, or getting ready in the morning, I'll listen to that. The only problem is that because I don't drive, I'm not listening to audiobooks constantly. Like, only at certain times. And then I end up, because I love watching booktube videos and watching movies, sometimes I will be listening to the audiobook at the same time, and then I don't take in all the story. So, and it's almost too much, it's probably too much stimulation for me, doing all that stuff at the same time. Two things is one thing, but 3 things is probably not good for me. But so I don't know what, I mean, I took in a bunch of books and I don't know which ones of them I'm gonna read. Like, I keep coming up with ideas of books, but then, like, again, my biggest problem is I stare at my books. I'm like, oh, but I should read that one, but I should read that one. So this actually is more of a rambly video, where I'm just kind of thinking about my plans, and not knowing what they are, and or at least not having set plans for my TBR. Do you guys have TBRs or plan your reading at all? Like, or maybe you just go by whim, which might be better, less pressure. But then what do you do do you experience this feeling of, like, when you pick a book, like, even if you're enjoying the other one, but even if you're enjoying the book you're currently reading, but all of a sudden there's another book that you want to get, or like it's a book you just bought, or it's a book you've been meaning to get to, and you just look at it on your shelf and realize, I want to read that one. Which I know most people would probably think, oh, you're not enjoying the book you're currently reading then if you get distracted. But no, that's not the case for me. I mean, I'm still enjoying my book. It's just, I have so many of them that I want to read. I wish I had the skill. I wish I had the magical ability to read 2 books, like, literally at the same time, where I don't have to put them both down. I can read literally. Of course, no one can do that. And plus, you probably won't enjoy if you were reading 2 books literally at the same time. So maybe really what I want is, I wish I could read a little bit faster. But then I don't want to. But then, I'm not saying. But I also don't want to learn how to speed read, because because I feel like speed reading is important if you're trying to learn, like, if you're more focused on, like, if you're a student or something and you're trying to learn how to get through books faster. But I really deep down, I don't want to rush books. I don't want to get through books faster. The only thing that makes me a little bit wishing I could get through them a little bit faster, not speed read, but just a little bit, get through them a little quicker, is not because I don't want to take my time with them, but because, like, all of a sudden I want to read another book, but I want to finish my current read. So it's more about that all of a sudden I'll want to read something else, even if I'm loving and enjoying my current book. I all of a sudden, I just want to, like I'm thinking about a book I just bought that also I want to read. And maybe that doesn't make any sense. Maybe you guys still believe that means, oh, you're not really enjoying your book, even though I've said that I am enjoying my book. But yeah, so this is not exactly, I know in the beginning I said my reading plans, but it's more rambling about the different reading plans I'm thinking about, considering. So yeah, so again, I asked, do you guys have any? Have you guys come up with any reading plans? Do you have TBRs? Or do you just pick whatever book you want to read that month? Like, I would love to know in the comments below. And I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.